Song of Fulton and Gold. The eye seeking home has to lower, 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 lower. The eye seeking home has to lower. The eye seeking home has to lower, 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 lower. The eye seeking home has to lower. The eye seeking home has to lower, 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 lower. The eye seeking home has to lower. The eye seeking home has to lower, 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 lower. The eye seeking home has to lower. There are no towers. A vision through the smoke. A tree half aflame moaned inside me. The willow that had wept would not weep. All of me, the pigeon cries, all of me. Or is it all of you that they coo? The skyline held the sun up like two carnival strongmen, but then seemed to drop with the greatest of ease. No eye I knew could clear the clouding mirror, not the sun as it set, nor the moon as it bruised. I'm gonna get all these New York poems out of the way now. You have to really, I never intended to write September 11th poems. I still don't consider them September 11th poems, but the thing is, if you're from New York or you've lived here for a long time and you tend to stargaze or just people gaze, like I think New Yorkers kind of in their genes, they tend to. The skyline was very different after that. Your whole encounter with the visual phenomenon was very different after that. And as someone who's always stared out, we had an apartment with a view of the George Washington Bridge and the rivers and all of that. I've always stared out, and so I found myself writing about those changes, though I actually swore I never would. Embrace the night and get thee gone. Talking picture, silent poem, New York shakes off the fall. Tonight I work in a silence, that prayer is the rare term to sound. I make nothing, I am fracture. I walk in the dark egg of another September night that is cool, as though the moon is a mouth that blows on its wound. We are early in the life of the poet. He knows so little of light, so little of shadow. He knows downtown as a metaphor. He knows the constellations are at work tonight, pouring their stories of strife. He is in search of life. A poem's in search of its body. Down toward the river, the skyline broaches its phalanx of broken teeth. And up above, in the grounded sky, the sky grinds down the stars. And up above, in the grounded sky, the sky grounds down the stars. The stars broach its phalanx of broken teeth. The skyline toward the river searches for its body, downed, dammed in, beached, like the end of a poem walled up against competitive life. The constellations are at work tonight. Betelgeuse, Bellatrix, the hunter's bow in elegy graffitied across the endless black gate. We know so little of light, it dies though we are early in its life. A beautiful night. Its large lambent moon lets down a light that only happens in September. Say it. September. Fragile as an egg now. Teetering. Parabolic. Broken teeth in the mouth that praise the rare turn to sound. I work through this silence. Tonight, New York shakes off the fall. Silent poem, talking picture. Embrace the night and get thee gone. Map incomplete 1665. Map incomplete 1665. It's his vision of this pink, piss-colored parchment with griffins clinched near the edges of the frame as Africa, newly rivered, sits mysterious as the brain of his new world. Its synopsis as curt as enjambment. Its proposed longitudes and latitudes meeting mid-ocean and forming warped crosses wrapping around the water and blunted by these bulges in which heaven, earth, and author spell themselves out in perfect Latin. At day or at night, whichever his diary will say, a Dutch cartographer dreams, head dragging down on his desk, of Uccello's St. George and the Dragon. How in that flat world of triangle, circle, and square, the world seemed so eager to summarize itself. Woman timed by rescue, man trapped in that stout, conning hourglass. A two-legged monster spit out from a cave in a pose so wretched he wakes to trace it. As out his window, the soft, prismatic Dutch light slowly traces its rising lover, New York. Tonight, high school students, remember street level? This is for you, tonight. Try not to depress the hell out of you. Tonight. In the beginning was this surface, a wall, a beginning. Tonight it coaxed music from a Harlem cloud bank. It freestyled the smoke from a stranger's coat. It stole thinned gin. It was at the edge of its beginnings, but outside, looking in. The lapsed blue facade of Harlem Hospital is weather still, like a starlit lake in the midst of Lenox Avenue. Tonight I touched the tattooed skin of the building I was born in. And because tonight is curing, the beginning let me through, and everywhere was blurring halogen. Love the place that welcomed you. Proper names in the lyrics of troubadours. My parents never called me Rowan. I'm Ricky from Ricardo, but not Ricky Ricardo. I'm also the first Phillips in my family. My mother decided Philip, my father's family name, sounded too much like a first name, in America at least. Rowan Phillip would inevitably lead to Philip Rowan. That was her story, and she's sticking to it. For the record, that's an Old Norse first name, a Spanish middle name, and one of those far English, far Dutch sounding last names that's really Greek for lover of horses. Rowan Ricardo Phillips. Another of those names that straddle seas and the sails of unseen ships. Still, it seems typically West Indian to me. And like the West Indies, indefinite. An indefinite noun in an indefinite poem, and it took me a while to accept it. The ocean. I'm very intrigued by beginnings and the second ideas that come from them. The ocean. That I can't recall my first glimpse of my mother, alien-eyed, wrapped in alien cloth. How could I? When she held me, she was just my mother. That's just how it goes. This is just one of many beautiful moments I've been a part of, but can't and won't ever remember. That's just life, I guess. The void. That's just a part of life. Some hidden cave sunk deep in the mind and built for beautiful but can't remember. And I saw it once, here dissolving, there reassembling like gleaned second-long seasons. And for what reason, I couldn't tell you. I've asked myself why. Why can we not remember this? Are we just here due to the mere dust of stars that torched in the throat of an equation? It's a cold thought, I know. But belief burns much brighter in the cold. Brighter as the first idea flares and reverses, like the first new motion of that majestic first ocean as it discovered impregnable ground. To the reader, if you want to talk to me, you'll send me an email. If you don't know my email, you can Google it. If that's not enough, you can pay a site for all of my info and then use Google Maps to find my street. My building's the blue one, but please don't come by. I think we've got a good thing going here. We both thrive on a type of moving silence, like that sound you hear in static and know is something more than static. So you lean in and start to feel something tighten and crack, like frightened wings on fire that dwindle down onto your lap like a cat. Hi, I'm Rowan. We likely haven't met. And if we have, or have not, I love you. Empty city. As a gleam of orange cream glazed the dark and glowing calm, and everything that goes away has gone. I stand on North Moore Street with no signal but the imagination, as the wind picks up and the moon rises behind me. The world is a sketch tossed out and dug up to be used again. The world is a crumpled paper found and flattened out. And in the creases of that ground, this broken world stares back, all roofless amanuensis, all scribbled song and dare. I'll show you mine if you show me yours, and all the real world will be ours, even though you are not here, and I'm still miles away. Grief in the Imaginary Grave. We're gonna read two Bronx poems back to back. Anyone else here from the Bronx? BX Connect, uptown, baby. Grief in the Imaginary Grave. Grand, Summit, and Story Avenues. They're avenues in the Bronx, little avenues that I lived on. So you don't put those types of notes in the poem, but at a reading you can say it. November snowfall drowns out the views of Grand, Summit, and Story Avenues. Gone, 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 gone. I choked on the thought of ending this song. 3 Bronx streets go down under snow that graze in the air like aging hair. Understoried, dead and buried. Do you hear me from where they buried you? From where they buried you, do you hear the rhyme I bury for you? Do you age in an orbit of perfect sunshine and sound? Gone, 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 gone. All I can say is gone. Because gone is what is here, among the other things that grow. The idea of order at Soundview. These factories, their pipes smoke plume like skunks. They are all and one and many and few and 40 fireflies bound for JFK. And then 40 more circling the sound's dark face. Nature is a lapse in city life. And all green ground that ends in avenue, beware. For I am one and many and few and all who've dreamed of you from rooftops, pent with views of the wonders of Moses, who with a wave laid the Bronx asunder and dropped highways down on it in his wake. Two-line poem, The Fiancé. The war flaws every summer night like the clouds in her precious stone. I'm going to read this. Purgatorio 26, lines 135 to 148. Purgatorio is an incredible poem. It's my favorite of Divine Comedy, and there's a part in it where, if you read the original, the Italian breaks, and Dante starts writing in the Provençal of the great troubadour poet Ornette Daniel. It's something you always lose in the translation because it's English on top of English. I was translating that canto. It's a pretty important one for American poetry for reasons we don't have to get into now. But I fell asleep, I had a dream, and I woke up. Well, I wrote down the dream. Purgatorio 26, 135 to 148. Eu sui ao nau, que blau irá cantar. Gave the translation, thank you. Purgatory is a mountain on fire, right? You've just gone through hell, and you're climbing through this mountain to make your way through redemption to reach paradise. And in this part 26, Dante is just at the top of that mountain. You can almost see paradise. And this is who he considers to be great craftsmen, one of the great poets. He speaks to him before he leaves the fire and goes that much further to paradise. He was gone like a leap of flame that after having burst from the sun is dragged back into the sun as though nothing, leaving only the seen surface of the sun. I'd lost my way. I had no guide but a light, the slowly approaching twilight. And I said, light be this world. And I said, world be this light. And slowly, a bright star field fell to the sea. Fell all about the one my guide had pointed out. And he said, Rastaman, I am on Angel 7C, no. But I smell some of the smoke of Babylon and I. Come closer. Closer. So I, man, can have some eye-town veneration. I am Bob, who weep and strum and gather and love all things little and small. Jah left I lung and guitar to sing to everyone, all them. I now know ting about them but what I sing, and I now want no ting, I now want nothing. So when I complete I uphill trip to I, sing some of I soul you see ear so close, peeled from I man's structure. Sing some of dread and I, so I and I don't find it so easy love Bob dead. Then he fled as the lion that defined him. Just gonna read two more poems. I'm going to read that poem reverse. I have a number of Orpheus poems where I tell the story backwards. This is The Double Death of Orpheus. Somewhere she's repealing apples and pinning them up again in their trees. They had nothing to do with hell, and everything to do with hell. He thought he'd find her in hell when she was actually interning in heaven. She worked in all of the departments there: cloud keeping, reservations, front desk. The attempt on heaven and its loss of innocence made heaven seem less seedy. She loved sometimes to pick an apple straight from the tree on her break, and this was encouraged there. The good being encouraged to listen to their impulses, carpe diem, etc. She'd move the blade across the round red surface of the fruit like a sail navigating through a hell-spawned sea as the sun dropped down to drink it. She turnered both the apple she turned and the enslaved ship in his heart. He grew consumed with little things like this the second time he lost her. The first time, even gravity gave in as he descended the earth to find her. But then not even the power of his scrum shaking the ground could stir him. To bring her back, don't look back. It was more counsel than condition. To bring her back, don't look back. Hell loves to be taken literally. But could you blame him? Were there even double meanings back then, when everything was meaning something for the first time? Maybe his art just fooled his heart. Or maybe his screwed up heart just screwed up. Either way, he knew he fucked up. I would never get to fuck her again. And last poem is Scenario Remix. Scenario Remix. We were made to forget and little else, or we forget until there's little else, or little else forgets us but ourselves. We're here now, not much more is given, and even this demands some reliance on religion, perception, or science. Tonight, the first horizon returns and casts down into sleeping conchs the song of the first light. Do you hear it? Few things live in us that really remain part of us, apart from the diaphanous and strange. And when one day we're just plain forgotten, and it's time to be imagined again, someone will hail what he then imagines. This as it was, and this as it shall be.